You need to be patient. Nothing like the whole mindset of getting rich quick just doesn't work. You need to think 5 years out, like 10 years out.
And we are live. Jordan, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate you making the time. It's been a wild, hectic day, so glad we could end it this way.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to get to talk and have a good conversation.
Hell yeah, man. So we were talking a little bit before this came on, before we went live, but the concept here is really I got on Twitter because of investing, because of AMC in particular, but because of investing, I wanted to learn more. And when I got on Twitter, I just found all these amazing communities and people spreading positive messaging and messages and education. Education was a big one. And again, that's why I got on Twitter in the first place, was to learn how to trade. And you were one of the accounts I came across. I'm pretty excited to talk to you because I think you're one of the best people to learn from about trading on Twitter. You keep it very real, you're transparent, and everything you preach, I believe, works. So I'm very excited to get into this. On that note, why did you join Twitter?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I first started trading, one of the things I learned is that, or I read it everywhere, is like you need to have a trading journal. It's very important to record all your trades. And so for me, I was like, and I noticed like Twitter was kind of the place where traders like hung out. Like that was like, every kind of social media kind of has their niche. And like, I feel like all the traders kind of either at Reddit or they're always on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, let me just build a Twitter and I can like kind of share my trades, and that way I can just journal my trades so I can always look back at it, and then also like other people can comment on it and probably help me out. So it'd be cool to share that. So that's how I originally got onto Twitter. It was my trading journal.
I love it. I love it. And actually, that was one of the hard lessons I had to learn. I'm not a full time trader or anything, but the second I started using a journal, there was like an immediate step up in my trading ability. For me, it was kind of just like a way to like sense my emotions and just like see, okay, why did I get into this trade? In a way, like when I was able to look back at it, a lot of the time it was emotional. It wasn't like an exact set of reason I was seeing, and just being able to look back and read it helped me. But what was it about journaling for you that you found so important? And then what maybe going from there, you can go into some other very important key things you need to be successful in trading.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot, but when it comes to journaling, I think a lot of people, and me especially, like, I did not realize like what I was doing wrong. Like, there would be times where I would just keep losing money, and like, I feel like I'd be doing good, like, I'd be playing my strategy, and then it just wouldn't work, and I just keep losing, losing, and losing. And I think one of the important areas of trading that a lot of people don't really understand is that like all of your trading issues come from three different problems. It's either you don't have a strategy or a proven one, right? If you have a strategy, you aren't able to follow it, so you have no discipline. You have emotions, so you can't, follow it. The last one is you have no risk management. And it's really, once I kind of figured that out, it's like, okay, there's only three things that are causing me to lose. One of those three things, or a mixture of all three. And journaling really helped me figure out like what that was. Like, was my losers like way too big? Was it the risk management? Was it because maybe I was very good with discipline? I was following my strategy every single time, but I just wasn't making money. And in that case, I just had a bad strategy, right? So journaling kind of allowed me to really dissect what the issue was. And once I also like figured out it really only stems from three different problems, it became a lot easier and clearer to kind of figure out how to be profitable after that.
Interesting. What was your problem that you found?
I mean, it was a mix of all three. Like
Yeah.
it was mainly strategy because what I would do is I would strategy hop. So I would pick one thing. I mean, I started in penny stocks. I went to options, then the futures, back to options, back to penny stocks. Like I literally went through the reins of everything, and I would trade something for a little bit. It would kind of work, right? I'd make a little bit of money here and there, kind of maybe break even, and then I would blow up my account because I was just emotionless, or I had too many emotions. I had no risk management. And then I would just blame the strategy. I would say, this isn't working. I got to find something else. And I did that for like 2 years, 2.5 years. And it wasn't really until I kind of sat down and was like, it's not the strategy, like it's me. Like I need to like get a grip on what I'm doing. I need to stick with one strategy, get it to work. And if I find something that works, like it's easy. All I need to do is stick to it and have proper risk management. And that's really where things started to take off.
And then the strategy that you do have, it's like ingrained in my mind. I can't even really explain it. I call it a pullback. Like look for a confirmation and a pullback. That's something that you're preaching. So where did you find that and like why that strategy? I know there's tons that work, but that one does seem very easy. Like you don't need to get very complex with a ton of indicators and anything. You're just kind of looking at supply and demand zones. What brought you to that strategy and why that one?
So supply and demand, I found through Twitter. Like obviously being on Twitter, I followed a bunch of people, and I came across this post of this guy. He just had two boxes on his chart, and he would do like a before and after post, and it would just hit the box and then immediately go the other way. And I'm like, there's no way it's that easy. And so I learned about it. I watched some YouTube videos, like started learning about it. I'm like, holy crap, this thing works. And so I spent like a decent amount of time trading supply and demand, and it was working. And then it just stopped working. I was like, there's no way. Like I have done everything in the book. I've tried every strategy out there. I'm doing supply and demand. Why is this not working? And that's when I realized, okay, like supply and demand by itself isn't really going to work. Not long term. You may see a little success with it. It is a good strategy alone, but it won't really lead to any long term consistency. And so that's when I'm like, okay, I need to add something to it to make it a real strategy, make it a real edge. And that's what I'm like, okay, well, let me think of what else do I know? I know about volume, I know about trend, I know about market structure. Let me kind of add those in and kind of formulate like a strategy around all three of those things. And that basically started the back testing process, the refining, the tweaking process of really building a strategy. And so I spent all this time like figuring out what works, what doesn't work. Like, do indicators work? I tried it with RSI. I tried it with MACD. I tried it like without anything. And like I ended up on the strategy I have now, which is essentially just a form of supply and demand along with like trend and volume, market structure. So that's essentially how I got to where I am now with my strategy.
Interesting. So like self-developed from your education, from all the education you got over 2 to 3 years, it was really just self-developed. Interesting. You think that's the way that everyone has to go about it?
No, nowadays, I do think you need a proven strategy. And I do think the only way to really get that is there's two different ways, right? First thing is you do what I did and literally just back test and refine and tweak and spend months and whatever. Nowadays, there's a lot of people out there who you can just find a mentor. And I was very fortunate that I had a mentor at the time to help me guide through that. Now, I didn't end up doing the strategies he did. He was a lot more valuable in the sense of helping me stay accountable, following my emotions, really sticking to one strategy, even though it wasn't what he was trading. But nowadays, there's people who you can learn straight from them. You can literally go on Twitter, find someone, and if you trust them and you know they're transparent and their strategy works and they're making money, you can simply just trade what they're doing. And that's kind of what I did, right? I took supply and demand, I took that from someone else, and he took that from someone else, and I just added my own spin on it and made it work.
It's interesting. This like what you made me think of when you were talking about that is my dream is to be a podcaster and full time, like have conversations with interesting, cool people that just get paid for it. That's my long term dream. But what the overlap between that and trading and something that I love about trading, amongst lots of things, is the financial freedom and the digital nomad lifestyle that can provide for you. And one of the things that really actually got me to take the step into podcasting was finding a mentor. I found a coach, and he told me I'm not doing everything he told me to do. He told me to niche down and become the expert in something. And I see the success formula. I've seen it work. And I don't disagree with it at all. That's why I chose vending machines to start my podcast. And I saw that working to an extent. But at the end of the day, I just kind of lost passion for it. And I kind of put my own tweak on things. And now my niche is good people on Twitter. And which isn't really an expert level thing. And I'm not having these episodes all by myself or anything. However, what I do highly, highly give him credit for is just setting these guidelines and just keeping myself accountable. Ever since I got him as a mentor, it was every Thursday I'm posting an episode, and I literally haven't missed a Thursday since I got him. And that's in this game, the key is really content. Just get as many pieces of content out that you can. And I've had experience managing people. So I have an editor and I have a social media manager at this point. And I've had that experience with the vending machine company, but I'd never I'd never been a media person. I'd never been a content creator, so to speak. And just having that mentor just made the biggest difference. And I've seen that time and time and again in so many people's lives. 3 older brothers, like the oldest one started a company with his mentor. He's in commercial real estate brokerage, and they started the company together. And he deliberately went and found the mentor. He was searching for like 2 years for the guy to teach him how to do this. And then another brother went and found a mentor, bought into a course for a real online real estate company, flipping land. And now he's about to quit his job this summer. And so much of that's due to a mentor. I think that's just a massive, massive thing that you need in life. So that's where my brain went when you mentioned that you had a mentor. It's huge. I think it's a huge role of success, not just in trading, but in life, is to find those people. So yeah, no, it's good advice. Good advice. Somewhere I want to go, maybe we should have started here, is I want to hear more about you and your journey, your story. What was the young life of Jordan like, and what brought you into this passion that it from afar, at least, it seems like you really do have a passion for trading. What brought you here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my journey started out, I used to work at Bed Bath & Beyond, which it's funny because it became a meme
Wow.
stock eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to they actually filed for bankruptcy today, which is also,
Yes, I saw closing all the stores.
yeah. So I was working for them. I was like a cashier, like a floor rep, and I absolutely hated it. Like the first shift, it was the most boring job. It was like they literally just threw me out there and said like just like go like fix some stuff on the shelves. And like that may seem like easy to some people, but it is torture. Like it is the worst job ever. So after that first shift, I got home and I was like, probably something everyone's looked up online, like how to make money online, like fast, right? So I come across a video of this guy who's penny stock trading. He makes $2,000 in like literally less than 2 minutes just from like pushing buttons on his computer. And I'm like, there's no way I'm out here like working for $10 an hour when I could just be pushing some buttons, making $2,000. And that's what got me started into it. So I ended up funding, I was going to do penny stocks, right? So I ended up funding an account offshore so I could get over the PDT rule with $1,000. And I blew that up in 3 days. It was, I was very like, wow, like this is harder than I thought. But I knew like after the 3 days and when I had like basically nothing left, I was like, well, you know what? Like I still had that drive to get out there. Like I still wanted to make it work because I knew I could make it work. I knew where I messed up. I'm like, I just got to keep going and I'll get it to work. And that eventually kind of started the journey of where it was today. And I mean, I've blown up probably over 15 accounts now. Like I would just fund an account with 1,000 or 2,000, blow it up, fund it again, try a new strategy. And I did that for about 2.5 years. It was very depressing. It was very tough time when you're just constantly losing and you don't know why, or it's also like you're losing because it's your own fault. Like trading is you have to be a lot of discipline, and it's like you just get very frustrated with yourself, and it's very tough. But I'm just very glad that I was able to stick with it. And like one of the big things that made me really stick with it, because there were times where I was thinking of giving up, and really what I realized is like if you stick at something for long enough, like it will work. Like it's impossible to work on a single thing for 5 years, 10 years and not be good at it. Like it is impossible. And realizing that after like a year in, I'm like, well, I'm already a year in. If I just stick with it for a little bit longer, I'll probably get it to work soon. And so that's kind of where it all started. And I was very fortunate as well I mean, I was like kind of broke already when I started, so I didn't have that much money to lose, right? I know there's some people, I'll get some crazy DMs. I'll get DMs from people who tell me they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars when they first start out because they don't know what they're doing. And it's like I'm just very thankful. Like I knew if I had like hundreds of thousands when I first started, I would have lost it all, like 100%. So I'm very glad that I kind of was broke when I first started, because like it's a learning curve. It takes a long time to get it to work. You have to go through the losses. You have to go through the studying, like all the work. But I knew like it would work out eventually if I stuck with it. So that's kind of the journey.
Oh yeah, no, it's so fucking true. Like I was doing my trading journey, I had 401ks and all that, but my first like trade I got into, which actually ended up being an investment because I'm still here and I still feel good about it, but was AMC. And once I like started learning all of these things about day trading, about stocks, and all of that on a deeper level, well, then I started trading a bit, and I was doing regular stocks, the S&P, making or losing $10 at a time, and I was doing okay. I was doing like well enough, and I thought, okay, look at these people in options. Like I make 1%, and they make 20. Like I want to go try that. I funded the account $2,000. I immediately blew it up, and it is emotional. It's hard, man. It kicks you in the ass. Like you go into a depressed state, and it's hard to bounce back. But you had a good mindset. That is the absolute correct mindset about anything. You do anything for 5 years, 10 years, you're gonna get good at it. You just got to put in the effort. But it's funny because when I see the stat that says 9 out of 10 traders lose money, I always question like, show me a timeline of how long the 9 traders actually traded before they gave up, and then show me the timeline of the 10th trader. That's what I always go back to. And like my dad, he's a pretty risk averse guy. He's a doctor. He convinced me he was preaching hard like, hey, go be doctor, lawyer, accountant, like risk averse things, always have a job. And when he found out, when I talked to him about day trading stuff, he would always bring up that stat. That's always what I told him. I'm like, yeah, I got to meet those 10 people. I want to ask them, hey, how long did you trade before you gave up? When you say you're losing money, what do you mean? Like that's my thing. Is that you should paper trade first, obviously, but even that's not going to do the emotional ups and downs because it's not real. You just kind of have to go through the bumps and the losing, and once you do, if you can stick with it, which I don't know what it takes to stick with it. Like I'm sure there has to be an interest in the stock market or some ADD because of how everything moves quickly and all those things. And like I don't know what it is exactly, but if you can stick with it, I feel like yeah, you're just gonna end up on top. That's in anything. And I tell myself when I'm posting these clips or episodes, and episodes don't get a lot of views right now, but every now and then a clip will do 2,000 views, and then my next one does 100, and I'm like, what went wrong? What's going? You know, even now it's just up and down emotions, and that I kind of learned to deal with in the stock market. Now it's kind of a whole new battle again. But going through it once and going through it in a sport or profession or whatever it may be, it kind of just toughens you up for the next time around. On that note, to back up 5 seconds, what for you? What is it about trading that made you stick with it? Like, was this the first thing that when you went online and ways to make money quick? Was this the first thing you came across? Because for me, I've tried dozens of different professions, so to speak. Was this it for you? And if it was, or if even if it wasn't, like, what made you stick with this? Why trading?
Good question. Yeah, so it was the first thing I came across, but the first year and a half I was doing it and I was losing, I definitely dabbled in a lot of other like make money online type things, like drop shipping, Amazon, flipping stuff on eBay. Like I've done it all. And the reason I think I stuck with trading is I had a real passion for it. Cause like obviously with trading, like everyone does it for the money, simply to make money.
Yep.
But once I started to kind of like see it more as like a game, like a puzzle, it's literally like a game. It's like I have to come to the market and like figure out like what I think is going to happen. And if I'm right, I'll make money. And if I'm not, then I'll lose money. And it was like I was addicted. Like I'll admit it. Like I was completely addicted. It was like it's like going to the casino. It's like let me throw my money in and see if. Of course, there was that rush and that emotional aspect, but it was also like it was just cool to come to like an almost like a it's literally like a puzzle, like a new puzzle every single day, and you just got to figure it out. And that what made me I just found a passion for it. I love doing it, and that's what ultimately got me to stick with it.
Oh yeah, I. That's the way I've kind of explained it to my nephews. I have big family. I have 3 older brothers, but parents remarried, so now we have lots of brothers, sisters, and nephews and nieces. And one of my nephews is, I want to say he's turning 13 here soon. And the way I've explained it to him is I was always growing up, like I was really good at video games. I was like my best skill. I wasn't that great at sports. I went varsity in wrestling and like nothing else. And but I was the best at video games of all my friends and everyone I played with. And as I do that with my nephew, I'm like, man, if you like video games, here's something that I got into that I like a lot. You should try a paper trading account. And you know, it's just a big video game. it's just you learn the rules, and the better you learn them, the more you play the game, the better you get it. Just like your games here. And I like the analogy of a puzzle. That I've told him the last couple of times I've seen him, and I'll see him 4 or 5 times a year, and every time I see him now, I'm like, dude, if I started doing this at your age with a paper account and just did it once a week, and just looked into it once a week, an hour a day at 13 to 17. By the time I was 18, fuck, dude, I'd rock this game. Obviously, you'd probably still lose at the beginning because when real money comes into it, it's just different. But yeah, no, it's definitely, that's one of the things that made me stick with it too. Like, it's definitely it can be gambling, and it's definitely that, like you said, a casino aspect to it that got me. And it just is what it is. But like for me, it was looking at it like a puzzle, looking at it like a video game, and just like, okay, how do I beat this game? How do I win? That's definitely one of those factors that I think is, I would guess, is universal about it, because there's 1,000 ways to make money. If you dedicate yourself to something, like you said, you're gonna figure it out. But yeah, no, I couldn't agree more that it's the puzzle. I like the puzzle analogy a lot. Yeah, man. On that note, sorry, I'm a little exhausted. I had a long fucking day.
No, you're good. And also like one thing too with that puzzle thing, like it's once you kind of really figure out a strategy that works, it completely changes because it's no longer like you're figuring out what to do. Like now that I have like a strategy and like a system in place that works, it's like I come to the market, I know what to do, and I just look for my setups. And if it's there, I follow it. If it's not, then I just don't trade. And there was a point when I first started seeing success where it honestly got like boring. And then it kind of like it made it tough again because it was like I wanted to feel that rush, right? I wanted to make money. And so like if I knew my setup wasn't there, I still looked for trades. And there comes a point where you trading now for me is not it's not fun. It's literally like I go there and it's like I see, all right, is my setup here? No, and I walk away. It's like it becomes more of a job over time than it does like that emotional rush I had in the beginning. But ultimately, that's what it is. Like trading should be
That's the
boring
goal.
if you're doing it
Yeah,
right. It
that's
should
the
be
goal.
you show up if it's there, perfect. If it's not, you just walk away.
Hell yeah. And when I'm just kind of curious actually about this. When do you look for that setup? Do you look 30 minutes into the day, like an hour into the day, and then literally it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of analyzation and put the trade or don't put the trade? Like, what is your trading day look like?
Yeah, I only trade the first hour. Sometimes like it'll only be the first 30 minutes. Sometimes it'll be a little over an hour. It kind of just depends. A lot of my trades depending on the trade I'm doing, will run throughout the whole day or maybe like a few hours long. So what I do is I set like automation. So I basically get in the first hour. Typically I'll get in the first hour and I'll put my stop in place, put my target in place, and I'll just walk away, let the trade play out for the rest of the day. So that because for me, like I didn't want to sit at the charts the whole day. Like nobody wants to do that. But I knew if I could figure out a way to really only trade the first hour, then I can make it work. And typically I'll usually see my setup, not every day, but like most days there will be a good setup within the first hour. And through my back testing, what I've found is that if I don't see anything in the first first hour and a half, first 30 minutes, then the odds of my A plus setup showing up is like very low. It almost never shows up after the first hour. So that's the way I do my trading. That's what works for me, and I like it because then I don't have to spend all day at the charts.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the goal. What do you trade on? What platform are you using?
So I use TD Ameritrade or Thinkorswim. I trade off my phone, or I do all the executions off my phone,
Yeah.
just because I like how it's just easier to place everything on the app. But I do all my charting on TradingView.
I also use TradingView. I'll do my long-term buys on public, although I think I'm going to switch that soon because the ones I don't do on public, I'm using the wheel strategy, which is someone I got from, I want to say, Colin Gladman, if you know of him on Twitter. He introduced to me the wheel strategy of selling calls and just wait out the money calls, which is basically just free extra $15 a month or a week or whatever it may be, and using that to rebuy shares and all of that. And I couldn't do that on public, but at the time, I was an AMC. I am an AMC guy, and I do like the fight, the good fight. I just had a conversation with a Doge community, the Doge McLaren girl, Julia Love. I just had a conversation with her. Just came from that one, and we talk about the good fight, basically, of the powers that be really do manipulate the market and manipulate the game and news and all of that. And that's why I got on public. However, that the reason I asked what platform you trade on is that the stop loss, that's something that I would love to have. Is right now I can set alerts. I use like Webull or TradingView, whatever it may be, to set an alert like, hey, this just hit this price or this price, and I'll grab my phone real quick. But there's no stop loss, take profit. You can set one or the other, but you can't set both. So very important part of if you want to have time freedom, which is really what financial freedom is all about. But if you want to have time freedom, it's huge to have, huge thing to know. So honestly, I'll probably fund an account here, exchange my stocks into that. Honestly, probably this week. It's good to know. Very good to know. But there's anyone, to switch gears a tiny bit back towards Twitter and YouTube or Reddit, wherever it may be, is there anyone that you have a community with now that you are a quote unquote, I'd say big time trader? I mean, that could be taken a lot of ways, but in my mind, you are someone that people look to. I'm sure you're getting DMs all the time. You mentioned before you are that, hey, like, help me do this. Is there a community that you found on Twitter? I guess from 2 points of view. One, that a community that you feel as an equal, a peer, other traders that are helping educate. And then is there a particular like Jordan community that you've seen that you've had this following, that you have fans of you in particular, or a group that you're a part of in particular?
Yeah, totally. So 2 points on that. I do have my own community. I do have like a private mentorship that, that's where I built my community from. So obviously I'm going to say that's the best one, but there's a lot of cool traders out there. The thing with that I realized is a lot of traders now, there's so many people teaching the wrong stuff, and not like their trading is wrong, but like they're like blowing off on Twitter, telling people like, hey, here's how I took 1,000 into like 100,000 in a week. And like they most likely paper traded it or like pumped their group or whatever to do that. And it's like, that's just not realistic. And you have a lot of people as well, like giving out alerts like all the time and doing all this stuff. And I'll be honest, like a year ago, I was giving out alerts. And what I realized from that is it's not actually really helping anyone. Like if you're trying to become a full-time trader and do it seriously for a living, if you're relying on someone else for alerts, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so that's like a huge thing of the trading community now. So I never really fell into like a community per se. Like I'm friends with a lot of the bigger guys on like Twitter or whatever you want to say. But like, I joined like some of these courses and like Discords and alert rooms like when I first started. But like what I realized is there's not a lot of people preaching the right stuff, because like, obviously if you're showing someone, hey, I made $1,000 into 100 grand by pumping this penny stock, like it's going to get more likes and it's going to get more views and like more people in your room. And there was that guy, I forgot his name, who's the guy that got like arrested for the Zach Morris or whatever.
Actually, I haven't heard of this.
Oh yeah, him, and there's a whole room. They got like caught by the SEC. I think he's on like house arrest or something, or he's got like I don't know, but like this happened pretty recently. There's a lot of people part of that room that just got screwed over. And so there's a lot of toxic and bad people out there. But I think just sticking with the right people, finding people who show their losses, finding people who aren't just shilling out alerts like all the time, like you'll know like who's legit if you just follow around for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the cool part of Twitter. Like once I joined, I can't remember when I joined exactly, probably like June 2021. It took time, but like once I got into the underbelly, and I can't even take credit for this exact quote I'm going to say, but the guy Sal, the meme lord. I've interviewed a few meme people. And I think that's actually a really cool part of Twitter if you want to talk about that. But I think the meme people are really necessary and good part of Twitter. But Sal, the meme lord, he's an AMC meme guy, and we were talking about this. He's like, it's like once you find the underbelly of Twitter, or in this case, the underbelly of the AMC community, you find the good people, because they do gain a following, and it happens slowly. And it's unfortunate that you can take the Andrew Tate method, quote unquote, of somewhere in there, he's got some good messages, but the overall, how he blew up was just the toxicity of it all, and just being a fucking, just being Andrew Tate, being the character. And it's unfortunate that does grow faster. It just, for whatever human psychology reason, it does. But over time, the good people last longer, and the ones that actually provide value and preach the right things, they last longer. It grows slower, but it grows. And once you're able to find that underbelly of Twitter or whatever community you're looking for, it's there, and you're able to find it. And almost like finding your profession, your thing. It takes time, but if you keep going at it, you find it. That's one of the things that I love about Twitter. Why I started the good of Twitter is that that's one of the things I found is that you're the perfect example. You and others like you in the investing community, the retail investing community, like eventually, somehow, some way, I came across one of your tweets. I was like, yeah, that's a good positive message. I liked it. Came across another one. It was good education. I liked it. And then, I followed you eventually, and it's just, it builds slowly like that, but it does build. And it's a really cool part of Twitter. The fact that we're sitting down having this conversation is just honestly kind of mind blowing to me. And I'm hoping that I can do my part to help spread your message. And I know that over time, as you grow, it's going to become bigger and better, and you'll get bigger and better. And as you said, you used to like put out alerts, and it's something that you don't like anymore, but you're learning, and you'll learn a year or 2, 3 years from now that, oh, I wish I was doing this before, but it's all part of the process.
Yeah. And that's another thing I learned as well is that the community, the type of followers and community you build. Because when I was doing alerts, I would have obviously like not every alert would be good, right? Some of them would lose money. And I would get comments of like, dude, like you suck at trading, like all this like stuff of like, dude, I lost my money. And it's like nowadays, because like I don't post alerts, but like I'll post losses, right? And then people will comment and be like, they'll understand, they get it, like they understand that trading it's a long-term game and you're going to make losses like for the rest of your life, like they're going to happen. Whereas the guy who's 18 in his mom's basement trying to get rich quick and he puts all his money into one of my alerts, like I don't want him following me. Like he's not, like what am I going to do? Like he's not going to learn from me. Like I want the people who are trying to be serious about trading, people who are looking to become consistently profit and self-sufficient. And it's a much better community. I get comments of like, oh, like thanks for the transparency, like hey, like what could you have done better on this trade, like all this type of stuff. And I think just by tweeting out the right things and saying the right message, you'll get a lot better followers and a much better community as well.
Damn, I never thought about that. The type of followers you have. That's something that actually has like never really popped in my head. That makes a lot of sense, though. It makes a lot of sense. And that 18-year-old that lives in his mom's basement and just getting started, I've been that guy. I can't really talk too much shit. Like I used to follow, like the first people I followed, some of them were just alert people that just saw make a ton of money, and I was trying to like, okay, well, I only have $1,000 now, but if I'm able to just like hit 3 of these in a row, well, then it'll be like 7,000, and then I can really slow down and do it, But once you get to 7K, then your mindset is, well, once you get to 25,000, and it just doesn't really end. Yeah, so it's interesting. I never really thought about like the type of followers you have. I hope that makes me feel good about what I'm doing here. Actually, I think that the people that follow me and will continue to follow me on this journey will understand, like, hey, we're looking for empathetic, good humans that are out here trying to reach people in the right way, such as yourself again. And yeah, dude, I've never thought. I'm honestly, you kind of just like mind shifted me for a second there. It's like, oh shit, that's true. You should be concerned with the followers you have. And once that 18-year-old, once he's ready for the right teacher to appear, they'll appear. And
Yeah.
it's a good way to measure success, at least for me. As like you literally put me in a little mindset shift here. Like, don't just worry about your followers. Worry about what your community is saying when they comment, and that should be a KPI of yours as well as you go on a content creation journey. A little different than a trading journey, but along those same lines for sure.
Right. And dude, I freaking love my community. Like I know some of you guys are watching me, you've been following me for some time. Like I love you guys. Like it's literally my favorite part. And like honestly, why I still do it now is like, dude, I'll get DMs of people telling me like that my YouTube videos are value, my Twitter is valuable, and like they'll send me like tweets of them making money and be like, hey man, like I followed your supply and demand and like I made $300 a day. Like thank you so much. And like that shit makes my day. And I absolutely love that. And like obviously like going back to the community before where like I'd get DMs of like, dude, like I lost money on your alert. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, bro, like I don't like just don't follow me then. Like don't like, and obviously like I don't do alerts now, but it's just such a everything about it is so much better. And for you guys watching who follow me for a while, I literally love you guys. Send me a DM and we'll talk. I answer all my DMs too. All of them. Nobody does that as well. For the past like 5 years I've been on Twitter, I've answered every single DM I've gotten. So I love having conversations with all my fans.
I can vouch for that. He answered my DM. I put in a good amount of time reaching out to people. Well, a lot of it's prospecting for people that I'm like, yeah, this is a good person and this is someone I want to get out to. But and I definitely have a better response rate here than I work in sales at the moment. My full-time gig. I've done a ton of different things while kind of searching for my passion. Got my CPA out of school, worked as a consultant in a few different realms, done valuation work, mergers, acquisitions work, doing sales now. And the reason I did sales is actually like I knew whatever the fuck I was going to land in, you have to be able to sell yourself. And it's just a good skill to build. So I went down the sales route, and it definitely put me in a gear where I started prospecting a ton on Twitter to find the right people. And I'll shoot out a ton of DMs to people I like and I think I respect. And you got back to me pretty quickly. Honestly, it's pretty impressive. I'm sure you're getting a ton of DMs. So that's a super respectable thing you're doing there too, man. I love that. I love that.
Of course, man. It's because like, what am I gonna do? Just like watch someone try and reach out for help and ignore me? Because like that's also what I did, and like what I advise everyone to do, like on Twitter. Like that's how I got most of my information before I had any following at all. I've sent like probably over 500 DMs to every big trader out there, just asking like, hey man, like why'd you get in this trade, or like what could I have done better here? Like why'd you say this in that tweet? And not a lot of people responded, but like for the ones who did, like I valued them so much and they helped out a lot. And so I'm just very grateful for that. So I just like to do the same thing back.
Yeah, try to pass it forward. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. For those people that are finding you and just getting into this journey, what would the first steps be for them? Like if you could go back to yourself when you started trading at whatever it was, 17, 18, 19, and you could like, hey man, I would have done this differently. What are those steps you want to give them?
So it's interesting because I was very stubborn, and I think I basically say the same thing, which is you need to be patient. Nothing like the whole mindset of getting rich quick just doesn't work. You need to think like 5 years out, like 10 years out. Like that's how you really make it in this game. And but the honest truth is like people told me that, and I didn't care. I didn't listen. And I think I can go out there and tell people like you need to be patient. You need to play the long game. But nobody does it. And it's tough to do because it's like people are in a shitty situation. I hated my job. I didn't like where I was at. Why would I want to stay in that position when I can just try and get rich quick and get out of it faster? So like going back, I would say like it's just you have to be patient with it, with everything. It just takes time, and you have to go through the losses. But like I said, like me telling you to be patient is not really going to do anything. And it didn't really hit me until I was 2 years down the line and I really wasn't making any success because I was trying to get rich quick. And I just realized it on my own. So I think you kind of need to go through the losses, go through a lot of the process to learn the mistakes on yourself. But if I had to say one thing, it would definitely be play the long game, play it. Like don't expect anything for 3 to 5 years. And it seems far out, but it will come quickly. And honestly, if you play it like if you play it like, okay, I'm just going to work and not expect anything for 5 years out, you'll probably start seeing a lot of success and a lot of profitability like after year one. So that's the way to go.
Oh yeah. I say the same thing for a podcast, man. Is like, I came into this probably because of like I had been trading before and I've done the vending machines, and I have to give a lot of credit to sports too. Like wrestling was terrible. I was a horrible wrestler. And then I was lucky enough to be wrestling with state champs and runner ups and just really talented, awesome people that would wipe the floor with me, literally. But man, going through that day after day after day, 5 hours a day, and I just kind of got to see that after 3-4 years of that, like where I was able to grow when I turned 17, 18, and just like look into that, like, whoa, oh, I was a scrub. Like I should never have been good, but I just worked 5 hours a day every day. It kind of definitely put a mindset into me like 4 years can change everything. And then obviously all the little things I was doing. So when I started this podcast, I was like, hey, don't even worry about the KPIs. Don't worry about money or anything like that until year 3. Year 3, you should try and make $1 off this. And it's definitely been helpful because it's just like trading in the sense of the emotions are going to hit you. and the walls are going to hit you. And it's kind of funny. Like I read a book. Todd actually loves a book recommendations in a second, but Trading in the Zone, and it talks a lot about it does, there's no TA, and it's all about your mindset, psychology, and you have to learn to think in a different way, which is very true. But then I've ran into that exact, like, you hit this depressed state, you hit this wall. I ran into it with the podcast when you're not seeing the growth you want. Sales, I've hit it, probably the two hardest walls I've hit were in trading, where I blew up options accounts, and then in sales, where like it was just 1,000 times more difficult than I ever thought it was going to be. And I just hit this depressed state for like 2 weeks. And then one day I kind of realized I was in it. And I was like, whoa, like I've gone through this before, but like it's kind of like it feels like I have to relearn that lesson all the time of, hey, this is just gonna take time, and you're just gonna suck at it at the beginning, just like I did in wrestling at the beginning, just like I did in trading at the beginning. And I'm no savant in trading, but I've learned these kind of key lessons that you have to learn yourself. You have to learn who you are. What do you want to trade? Do you want day trade? Do you want swing trade? What fits your lifestyle? What fits your personality? And the discipline. I mean, discipline is so much of everything. I'd say it's over 50% of anything you do is just the discipline to show up every day. But yeah, I'd say that patience piece is massive, absolutely massive. And on that note, actually, I saw you shake your head up and down when I mentioned Trading in the Zone. What were some books that helped you? Maybe not just in trading, like yes, in trading, but also some books that helped you just in life.
So I shook my head because I know that book and I've heard a lot of good people speak on it. I am not a reader and I have not read any trading books at all.
Wow,
I
that's
like
impressive.
I mean it's just I can't, like, I hate reading. I just hate it. And especially with something like trading, like I feel like it's a lot more visual. So I learned
Yes.
basically everything from YouTube, like Twitter, Google. I just could not get into to reading books. So I don't have any book
No,
recommendations.
that's fine. So on that, what are the YouTube accounts and the specific what specific accounts do you learn from? Because I learn a ton from YouTube actually. That is one of my main sources of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, first one I'm gonna say is mine. Like I have a YouTube now, so that's obviously the best one. But no,
So
I'm
I'll get
kidding.
real quick. What's the at on that?
It's like it's FT two underscores and then trading, the same one as my Twitter. So it's like a weird at, but so that one, YouTube, like trying to think of old like videos that I watched or old channels I was watching. I learned a lot like from the penny stock days, from like Warrior Trading. I don't really follow him anymore though. I learned a lot about options from the Tasty Trade, the Tasty Works channel. They do really good. They talk a lot about like iron condors and credit spreads, like complex option strategies. So I learned a lot from them. I don't really remember though. Like it's not really specific channels. Like I would just find like a concept. Like I would look up like market structure and just watch a bunch of videos on that from different perspectives, from different people, and then like supply and demand. I'd look that up and learn from like a whole bunch of people. So it's mainly just like more concepts I would just look up and learn a lot from that. I don't really have a lot of specific channels because I don't really watch them anymore now. So,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of good people out there to watch.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And as we're kind of running low on time here, it's unfortunate how late in the day this had to happen, but I'd like to ask you a couple more questions and then I'll let you go because I know you're Eastern time zone, so it's even later for you. What if for all your followers you have, that I hope they've enjoyed this episode, what messages or what particular message do you have that you want to share? Maybe not even your followers, anyone that's just seeing you or anyone that might happen to see this episode, what's a particular message that you would like to leave with them?
Yeah, man, it's like I don't know. I think patience, like I say, is one of the best things that's going to take you far. I mean, nowadays you have so many people on TikTok and online and whatever, like that are like 18. Like I've met a ton of kids here in Miami, like that are 18, 19, like crushing it, making so much money. But it's like it's an illusion. Like everything takes a ton of time, and good things take time. And so if you're trying to get rich quick, like you need to get out of that mindset because it's never going to work. And like a lot of the best things come from doing the same thing every single day for years. And that's basically the name of the game. So if you're struggling with something or you're in a position that you hate, like you're working a job that you hate or whatever it is, like find a way to enjoy your life while you're working that job, even though you don't want to be there, because that will allow you to play the long term instead of forcing the short term gain. Because you only look for short term solutions if you hate where you are. But if you love what you're doing and you love the position that you're at and you're grateful for being where you are, you're able to play the long game, and that's where you'll start to see a lot more success. So yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. It's blanking on his name, but the the Virgin guy, the Virgin Islands and Virgin Air, all that. He's a very similar message in one of his books. Be grateful for the job that you have and play patience. When he went to college, I think he dropped out like his freshman year and started working on like a magazine right away. And he he had some job and he's like, I don't really like the job. And he kind of see what a mindset shift in himself of this is allowing me to live my life. And I'm very grateful for that. And it just put him in a mindset of patience and playing the long term and just being grateful for where he was and the job that he had and all of that while he blew up his magazine and his editorial business. So really like that message. I'm trying to think of his name. I'm completely blanking on it. But anywho, I have one last question. I'll let you go. I'll let you go to bed. In your eyes, in your life, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, it's a deep question. I would say, I guess like two things, like probably to just maximize the amount of happiness for myself as I'm like here, right? Because like I don't know, I don't know, like I'm like we're all just here like on this earth, and it's like what else am I gonna do? Just like not be happy, or like I might as well just try and like live the happiest life I can. So I think like that's like a huge thing. It's just doing what you love every single day. I think also like leaving an impact on the world is pretty cool. Like having kind of like a legacy of like, this is what I've been able to do, like having an impact, making somebody else's day, making somebody else happy. So I think it's just doing what you love and making somebody else feel happy every single day that you're there. So just doing whatever you can to sometimes you got to do stuff you hate to kind of get to the place where you can do stuff you love, like doing work, and like there's things you don't want to do. But as long as you still have that mindset of you're just happy to be here and happy that you're alive, that's all you can really do.
Well, yeah, man. Love that answer. Love it. All right. I'll let you go to bed, or you live in Miami, so even though it's a Tuesday night, maybe you're going out, do something crazy. I don't know.
No, I'm not going out tonight. I do have a message though for anyone that did kind of stay to the end here and you're still watching this. I'm gonna hook you guys up. So if you want to send me a DM on Twitter, just DM me the word PDF, and I'll send you a free ebook that I made about how to scan for my setup. So if you're a real one, you stuck until the end, DM me PDF. I will hook you up. So.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
I'll send that to you as well. I got to send it
Thank
to
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I do. I wish I had the fucking longest day ever. Didn't even go until like 6 a.m. So I wish I was a bit more fresh and ready to go. But I appreciate your time. And you are someone that I look to on Twitter that I really respect. And I've learned a lot from your trading and from what you're sharing. So, hey, man, if you ever want to do this again, my cameras are always on for you. And I'm a digital nomad. The way that I live my life is like 3 to 6 months one place, and I'm kind of on to the next. And I do love life that way, at least for now. Maybe one day I'll choose somewhere to call home forever. But I haven't done it in Florida in a while. I was in Jacksonville for work and just kind of chose to make that the home base because of that for like 4 months. But maybe Miami one day, and we do it in person. Get it? I'm sure they got awesome studios out there, so get one in person, man. But I'll let you go. Enjoy your night, and I appreciate your time, sir. And I look forward to seeing more of you on Twitter and talking again here soon.
Yeah, man. DM. Thank you so much again. Like DM me anytime. I'm happy to help with anything. And yeah, man, keep crushing it. I know 3 years from now, how about this? 3 years from now, we'll do another one when you're at a million subs, million followers, and then that would be a fun one. Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah, that would be awesome, man. I can't wait to see where you are 3 years from now, man. It'd be balling. I guarantee it. So, hell yeah. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right, man. You too. Peace.